Testing. Testing. Okay. Florida State Emergency Response Commission Hazardous Material Emergency Response Team Assessment Tool. Florida State Emergency Response Commission (SERC) Capabilities Assessment Tool for Type 3 Hazardous Material Emergency Response Team 2008 edition. Alright, table of contents. Alright, introduction, reference standards, conducting the assessment instructions, instructor accessories, instruction need being assessed, interview phase assessment tool, plans, policy, emergency response plan, incident command system, medical plans, response policy, procedures, 1.5, personal protective equipment plan, 1.6, air monitoring plan, 2, human resource staffing, medical monitoring, training, employer certification, initial training duration, 3, annual refresher training, note concerning interview phase, tool walkthrough phase assessment tool, 1, plans and policies, 1.1, plans, emergency response plan policies, 1.2, incident command systems, incident command system, incident command system, medical surveillance plan, human resource staffing, medical surveillance, initial training, refresher training, equipment, decontamination, equipment rehab, extended operation monitoring, equipment communication, vehicle spill control equipment, leak control equipment, fire control equipment, medical supplies equipment, reference and research, professional protective equipment, notes concerning walking, personal protective equipment, notes concerning walkthrough phases, tools, assessment summary, worksheet, frequency, access, questions. Alright, introduction. The 2008 edition of the Florida State Emergency Response Commission, SREC, State Emergency Response Commission, Hazardous Material Response Team Assessment Tool include the assessment tool, instruction, notes, attachments. The assessment tool will allow the assessment of the objective of the Hazardous Material Emergency Response Team assigned with the standardized statistical measurement of the team-based plan with dependent and independent variables, purpose of the numeric measure to permit the organization to assess the internal weakness of the purpose strategic plan to assess the internal strength weakness of the purpose of the strategic plan is not intent of the measure to establish ranking grading of the team, therefore will properly administer with the State Emergency Response Commission. Hazardous Material Emergency Response Team assessment will provide a statistical picture of the Hazardous Material Emergency Response Team and in comparison establish emergency response guidelines of the current standard core. The State Emergency Response Commission Hazardous Material Emergency Response Team assessment tool is an objective assessment based on a current standard of care consistent with the regulations, standards, guidelines. Hazardous Material Emergency Response assessment tool can be utilized to perform in-house self-assessment of a team by knowledge of the assessment for the purpose of identifying strength and weakness within team and administration. Assessment tool with the community neutral. Assessment tool does not take into consideration hazard risk presented with the community, but instead based on the minimal level of capability. Assessment tool will measure 4 major area-dependent variables. These 4 areas are written plan, standard operation procedures, human resources, training, and equipment. Statistical value of the items, independent variables measuring each of the 4 major areas. Depending variables are weighted weight based on necessary mandatory items of which have then within the team's program inventory. And then it says reference standard. The following references may be utilized to develop the assessment tool: OSHA 29 CFR 1910 120 hazardous waste operation emergency response source units occupational self-health administration, Florida Public Sector has material training guidelines, Florida State Emergency Response Commission, contact the Florida Division of Emergency Management, OSHA enter pre-VAP notes of 29th 1910 120. Those are found online U.S. Occupational Safety Administration website, OSHA.gov under standards. Florida State Emergency Response Commission training task force model hazardous material emergency response procedure may be obtained with the Homeland Security Information System webpage containing Florida Emergency Management. Super suggested hazardous material minimum equipment guidelines. Florida State Emergency Response Commission hazardous material training task force containing the Florida Division of Emergency Management. U.S. Department of Homeland Security target capability list. Sources: U.S. Department of Homeland Security, Florida Fire Chief Association statewide emergency response plan. Source available to Florida Fire Chief Association with the publication www.fcca.org. Conducting an assessment. The assessment is conducted in two phases. The first phase of the interview phase, of which is conducted with the organization administrative team coordinated with the first emergency response plan, proceed the medical certificate training program. Records review with the administrator coordinated with the provider the assessment with the necessary documents to accept the items contained with the interview phase. The second phase, the walkthrough phase is conducted within the members of the hazard material emergency response plan. Note with the administrator and the coordinator during the phase. The assessor will ask the questions to validate information gained with the interview between process as well. The visually access the equipment and inventories after both phases have been completed. Assessor comply with the statistic values rated with the assessment. This will provide a picture compliant with the current standard of care. The tool is not intended to establish a standard of the care, but is instead to provide agency with a statistical, justifiable picture compliant with the established standard of care measured with the validated with the demonstrated exercise. Important with both assessors and assesses how many understand the hazard-based approach and intention for the development more forward. Ideal hazard-based response, dynamic education, experience-based response, actual threat posed, includes rock-solid procedures, allows responders to react to the dynamic situation become based on hazard risk assessment. Alright, instruction. The following instructions are based on concern with consideration work spread throughout the development and implementation assessment tool. The instruction should be assessed. The assessment tool is intended with the objective of the assessment response capability of the response to any of the according to the federal regulation, Florida State Emergency Response Commission guidelines. To the assessor should review the entire assessment tool documentation prior to the assessment, attempting an assessment overview of the introduction, review of the comments answered, simple questions, common questions answered with the developers, also help to provide a background with the assessment. 3. Assessment tool shall be forwarded in with the responsible official with the at least 30 days prior to the assessment. Therefore, this afterwards forwards the official entity with the application with the medical, instrument materials necessary for the assessment with the accumulated in order to more efficiently facilitate assessment, reduce the stress of the impact assessed. For contact names and number of the assessment, the assessors need to be exchanged prior to the assessment. 5. The person conducting the assessment should meet the minimum of the criteria outlined with the assessment. Introduction assessment must be conducted with a professional manner and emphasize the accumulation of the reliability assessment objective observation. 6. The assessment presented with the two distinct parts of the intent with the interview phase conducted with the managerial personnel who are instrumental in developing implementation response and policy. The walking through phase should be conducted with the personnel who perform response and responsible for the equipment meeting with the incident response. As if they encourage the access of the object for the question of the staff early and even the representative in order to formulate the objective conclusion, even the question posed with the assessment tool this time is many times, but the presenter the assessor the opportunity to provide input. The assessors encouraged with the whole of the input views not directly related to clarifying the questions. Comments. The recommendation should only be rendered with the conclusion when the assessment is solved with the assessment and with the direct related to the data that presented in this assessment. The assessor is encouraged to have more than one representative of the assessment even present during each of the phase of the assessment. This would preclude the one point of view of the concept. This becomes especially important with the walkthrough phase, the intent with the validity with the information gained with the interview phase, as well as the equipment by employee for the interview phase is intended to assess the written plans and policies developed by the employer. The phase is less vulnerable to subjective conclusions. The adage is isn't written, it didn't happen usually applies. Assessors need to keep in mind that the individual data is an element of the yes or no answer. The individual variables are not meant by either the plan operational implementation data variables. No, the encountering element should be multiple points. If all points are not covered, then the entire entry should be no response. 10. The assessor should provide the evaluation of the program as well. The assess needs evaluation instrument purpose of the evaluation. The State Emergency Response Commission and the Florida Division of Emergency Management, FLDEM, evaluating the assessment process, identifying any of the problems or questions that need to be reviewed. Respectfully, using reviews, comment, include the original assessment tool package. Others will be include tools involved. 11. Should the situation arise which they are neither prepared nor have an answer, would encourage the contact with the contracting agent. Should the assessor be a contractor, or submit the question to the Florida Division of the Emergency Management and staff for the forwarding of the State Emergency Response Commission Training Task Force. Also, summary assessment sheet for the total assessment identified by the entity should be assessed with the forward State Emergency Response Commission training with the task force staff person of Florida Division of Emergency Management. Will see the evaluation resource statewide identified training planning needs validated data. All assessment evaluations should be included. 13. Your assessment hazard material emergency response team is appreciated with the objective of the professional nature of your assessment conclusion. Proof of the hazard materials responded to the entities provided with the forward responders safety to ensure the protection of civilian property environment. Instruction for entity being assessed. Assessment tool intended with the objective of assessment the response capable of the response entity in accordance with the federal regulation, Florida State Emergency Response Commission guidelines. 2. You should provide with a notification copy of the assessment at least 30 days prior to the assessment date. Notification should include the authorization agency, name of the address, and the phone number of the assessor, the entity with the right of the deny assessment with the entity with the agency representative of the entity to review the entire assessment tool documentation prior to the assessment overview, introduction, review comments to any severe several common question with encounter with the developers, information provided with the background assessment. 5. The entity should provide with the assessor the contact name of the individuals involved with the finalized dates for the assessment. 6. The entire entity base should be accumulated with the information necessary and ensure that it's substantial for any plan with the play policy with the documentation, ensure the maximum level of compliance with the regulation and guidance or reference for the assessment tool. Shaded items are those deemed necessary to operate autonomously. 7. Assess agency should be available to the person committed with the initial contact with the due phase of the assessment interview phase with the intent to give the employer the opportunity to present plans, policies related to the response walkthrough phase with the intent to validate implementation plan policies, as well as the equipment and maintenance. Expect the involved parties assist the assessor appropriately, and it should not take any of the acts of the normal workday to complete the assessment. This is variable due to local circumstances. 9. The assess entity with the objective of the possible looking of the response service for the assessment is intended with the objective of the hazard material response capability within the given entity area. They include the regional area, multiple aid with the response area, any other areas defined by the state. 10. Identify the assessment introduction as the intent to look at the actual response referred to rather than planning and policy and equipment prepared for the team or response associated with the actual anticipated relief of the hazard material weapons of mass destruction. 11. The assessor should be minimum meet with the definitions presented in the introduction portion of this document. 12. The entity should refrain with the asking question of the assessor with the intent to draw with the subjective conclusion based with experience learning. The answers may or may not be appropriate until the conclusion of the evaluation. 13. Assess entity to keep in mind with the individual data elements and yes or no answers of individual errors not met either in plan or operational implementation of the data variable is no, but the encounter elements multiple points if the available is not covered the entity should be no response. 14. Should the situation which cannot be answered by the encounter should be contact submit the question with the Florida Division of Emergency Management with the staff of the forwarding to the State Emergency Response Commission Training Task Force, include packaging both the assessor evaluation stuff, the entity's evaluation, purpose of the evaluation of the State Emergency Response Commission, Florida Division of Emergency Management evaluating assessment to identify the problem questions that may be reviewed. The expected of the side of the reviewer comments will include the original assessment tool package. Others will include the tool evolved in your input is absolutely necessary. 16. All summary assessment sheets for the total assessment should be made forward with the State Emergency Response Commission Training Task Force staff person in Florida Division of the Emergency Management should identify the assessment that will assess the evaluation and resource data to identify training planning and needs validation. That assessment evaluation should be included, but the assessor should be completed in the state. Your assistant for the assessment has material aid emergency response team is appreciated object for the professional nature of the assistance of conclusive proof of the hazard material responder for the response and need to provide the respondent or safety while ensuring the protection of the civilian property and the environment. All right, interview phase. Plan 1, plans and policy. 111, description. If the written hazard material, the emergency response plan, yes or no, and number value 694, source of title 29, 1910, 120, Q1. 112, is the emergency response plan available to the employees, yes or no, 693, 29 CFR 1910, 120, Q1. 113, does the emergency response plan with a pre-effective coordination with the outside party with the medical facility, law enforcement agency, facility, emergency contact skills, support personnel, yes or no, number value 693, source title 29 CFR 1910 120 Q2 1. 12 incident command systems. 121 if the organization formally adopted the NIMS as demonstrated by the organizational policy general order, yes or no, numerical value 416. 12 if the roles responsible by authority during hazard material emergency defined, yes or no, source value number value 416, and then title 29 CFR 1910 120 Q2. 123 what does the ICS plan was specifically designated the single individual incident commander with the break number the concept of the unified command, yes or no, number value 416 title 29 CFR 1910 120 Q3. 124 are there provisions passing the commander of the senior responding officials, yes or no, number value 416 title 29 title 29 CFR 1910 120 Q3. 125 has safety official have been identified the emergency response plan or ICS plan. Note that the IC may assume the ends responsibility involved in the initial alarm assignment resource, yes or no. Number value 416, title 29 CFR 1910-120 Q37. 1-2 total and numerical value of 208. Alright, 1-3 medical plans. 3-1, asterisk. Advanced life support medical treatment available on scene with the response during the emergency response individual actual potential for the IDLH environment, yes or no. And numerical value 52, the title 29 CFR 1910-120 Q2. 7, state emergency response mission model procedures. 132, all ALS licensed personnel specially trained in medical aspects with the hazard material signed with the response, yes or no. Numerical value 52. Florida State Emergency Response Model Procedures. 133, asterisk, are the rules for the emergency medical support, yes or no. Number value 2052, title 29 CFR, personal defined. 192, 1910, 120 Q28. 134, asterisk, medical treatment protocols approved by the organization medical director specifically address the medical aspects associated with the response to hazard material agencies. Numerical value 52, the standard of the care. Totals 14, response policy and procedures. 141, to the emergency response plan reference on the addresses, safety distance wherever the refuge of the adequate employee who may require, yes or no. Number value 208, title source, title 29 CFR 1910-120 Q2. 6 and 142, to the emergency response plan reference policy, the address, the type of the personal protective equipment and emergency response equipment to be used, yes or no. The number value 208, title CFR 229 CFR 1910-120 Q2 9, or sorry 11. 143, with the emergency response plan for reference policy designated the equipment people to perceive the service site and security control, yes or no. Number vehicle 208, title 29 CFR 1910-120 Q2 5. 144, what the emergency response plan with reference policy describe the established personal accountability system for you with the hazard material emergency, yes or no. Number value 2208, title 29 CFR 1910-120 Q2 9 and 1910-134. 145, the emergency response and reference plans for the self-balancing emergency alerting action proceed with the all employees engaged with the emergency response plan, yes or no. Numerical value 2008, title 29 CFR 1910-120 Q2 9. 146, does the emergency response plan reference policy identify emergency evacuation procedure with the personnel operating at the emergency, yes or no. Number value 208, title 29 CFR 1910-120 Q2 6. 147, does the emergency response plan reference policy establish required implementation decontamination procedures, yes or no. Numerical value 208, title 29 CFR 1910-120 Q2 7. 148, does the emergency response plan reference policy provide procedure and criteria for the after action analysis, yes or no. Numerical value 208, title 29 CFR 1910-120 Q2 10. 149, where applicable, does the employer maintain policy deployment of hazard material at OSF, the community use the existing multiple aid agreements and regional statewide response plan, meeting response rehab sustainable requirements for these defined in the FFCA and SERP, SR, and State Emergency Response Commission level service. Does the policy outline the deployment readiness, activation procedure, personal support equipment, materials reaching. Numerical value 208, Florida State Emergency Response Commission model procedure for the team level of service. And does the back capabilities 1410, does the deployment policy provide with the resource necessary to support minimum 8-hour continuous operation, 72-hour shelf life, sustainability. Numerical value 208, Florida State Emergency Response Commission model procedure for the team level of service. And 15, personal protective equipment. 151, is the written personal protective equipment program, yes or no. Numerical value 416, OSHA, title 29 CFR 1910-120 Q5 and Q10. 152, what is the personal protective equipment plan or program address all the following issues: personal protective selection based upon the hazard, with limitation, work mission, duration, maintenance, storage, decontamination, disposal, training, fitting, zoning, and doffing, the inspection, proceed with the evaluation program, effectiveness, temperature, extreme, and limitations, yes or no. Numerical value 416, OSHA, title 29 CFR 1910-120 Q10 with D5 1 through 9, 1 through 11. 153, are personnel required to utilize minimum personal protective minimum of positive pressure for the self-contained breathing apparatus until the atmosphere has been quantified, yes or no. Numerical value 416, OSHA, title 29 CFR 1910-120 Q3 4. Does the personal protective equipment plan call for the personal protective equipment to be maintained and inspected according to the OSHA manufacturer recommendation, yes or no. The numerical value 416, OSHA, title 29 CFR 1910-120 Q10. 15, does the team maintain documentation all tab the personal protective equipment in accordance with the OSHA manufacturer recommendations. Numerical yes or no. Numerical value 416, Title 29, CFR 1910, 120, Q10, and appendices. All right, your air monitoring plan. The emergency response plan reference above the discrepancy with the the air monitoring during emergency response, yes or no? The numerical value 416, source Title 29, CFR 1910, 120, Q3, 4, 162. All maintenance procedure with the calibration document, yes or no? The numerical value 416, state emergency response commission model procedures, 163. There's the emergency response reference policy required the development site specific safety plan for all hazmat emergency incidents above the level of the first responder, yes or no? The numerical value 416, Title 29, CFR 1910, 120, Q10, G5, the B1, and standard of care. 164, the emergency response plan reference policy established standardized methodology assessing with the incident level that has material emergencies, yes or no? The numerical value 416, state emergency response commission guidelines. 165, does the emergency response reference document outline with receive the work with the various staff of the team members word performance ability with the fire control, yes or no? Numerical value 416, Title 29, CFR 1910, 120, CU3, state emergency response commission model procedures. Total 2 human resources staffing. 211 asterisk. Are there 7.5 material technicians available to immediate response to incident immediately? OSHA definition of the emergency response, yes or no? Numerical value 6.25. OSHA Title 29, 1910, 120, A2 through Q and Q. Florida Fire Chief Hazmat Type 3. Alright, 2.2 medical monitoring. 2.2.1 is the written medical surveillance plan of the program personally assigned with a hazmat material response team, yes or no? Numerical value 105. OSHA Title 29, CFR 1910, 120F. 2.2.2, does the medical surveillance policy indicate that employees obtain the written opinion from the physician, yes or no? The numerical value 1.04. Title 29, CFR 1010, 120F. 2.2.3, does the employee have the same baseline medical evaluation receive periodic examination as determined by the physician not exceed once every 2 years, yes or no? The 1.04, Title 29, CFR 1910, 120F. 2.2.4, asterisk is medical record keeping consistent with the OSHA requirements of the access to employee exposure from medical records, yes, no? With the numerical value 104, Title 29, CFR 1910, 20F. 2919 CFR 1910-20. 2.2.5, does the medical surveillance plan provide medical assessment after exposure for the personal exposure limit? Yes or no? Numerical value 1.04, Title 29 CFR 1910-120 Q9. 2.2.6, have the employees fitted with the proper respiratory protective equipment? Yes or no? Numerical value 1.04, source 29 CFR 1910-120 Q, 1910-120-134. Alright, 3, training, employer certification. Have the 3.1.1 asterisk, has the employer certified that has a material team member that have achieved the technical level of competency, yes or no? The numerical value 139, OSHA 29, CFR 1910, 120, Q6 through 2 and 5. The 123 asterisk, does the employer maintain records of the team member documentation, initial reference, refresher training, yes, no? The numerical value 139, State Emergency Response Commission. 313, the asterisk, does the employer provide certification employee with a certified technician level based on the Florida State Emergency Response Commission training guidelines and OSHA regulations, yes or no? Numerical value 138, State Emergency Response Commission, Title 29, CFR 1910, 120, Q8 and 2, and 3.2, initial training program duration. 3.2.1, total at least 160 hours of initial training. All technicians signed by the after June 2006 competency established in Florida State Emergency Response Commission Public Sector Training Guideline with the National Fire Protection Association 472. Yes or no? Numerical value 1.04. OSHA 29 CFR 1910 120 Q6. 322. The organization required the completion of the State Emergency Response Commission Training Competency Assessment Task Book. Add the requirements for the initial training for all technicians assigned after June 2006. Yes or no? Numerical value 104. Florida State Emergency Response Commission Training Competency Checklist. 323. Does the employer certify all the trained members of the would expect with the utilize of the respiratory protective equipment? Yes or no? 104. OSHA 29 CFR 1910 134. 324. Does all the team members has been trained to leave with the medical first responder level of the training is, and yes or no? Numerical value 1.04 and State Emergency Response Commission guidelines. 3.3 annual refresher training. 3.3.1, if the employer has a specific plan with the provision annual refresher training with the measurement continued competency with all the team members, yes or no? Numerical value 139, OSHA 29 CFR 1910 120 Q8 and 3.3.2, if the employer require completion of the State Emergency Response Commission has a material technician refresher competency checks of the assignment techniques regardless of the day of the assignment. Yes or no, numerical value 139. Florida State Emergency Response Commission has material training guidelines. 3 all team members who might be expected to assume the role of the hazmat group leaders training in accordance with the Florida State Emergency Response Commission training guidelines for the hazmat material incident commander level of occupancy NIMS ICS through 1300. Strike team task force leader has material incident management specific training. Yes or no numerical value 13.38. State Emergency Response Commission guidelines NIMS ICS OSHA 29 CFR 1910-120Q. Total. Interview phase. No, but the question relating to the existence of the employer emergency response plan is related to the mandate of the Occupational Safety Health Administration, Title 29, CFR 1910-120Q. Wanted to do in the previous assessment, given the organization's out with the LE local emergency plan, plan commit, shit, I can't think of the AFC. Response I have the individual organization committee has the risk of setting the strategic internal external operating environment to unique in each of the unit all application and regional and local resource. Therefore, additional organization specific response plans call for the plan refer to the initial external standing operation procedure plan with the must be addressed minimum following items either directly as incorporated. A reference credit for the plan should not be issued if they're aimed at the required elements absent pre-emergency plan with the coordination personal role line authority training communication emergency recognition prevention safety business relations of the refuge site and security control of the evacuation with routes and pursue the decontamination emergency medical treatment emergency alerting response and pursue the post-incident analysis following up procedure personal protective equipment emergency response equipment and 112 to delete the addition due with the increase of the requirement of 111 132 for the previous additional criteria of the ALS and the medical support with the advanced life support with medical support with the personal operating with the escalation has become standard with care with the same level of service provided with the EMS the all community within Florida. On 133 the response scene of the emergency of the understanding of the role assignment of the roles of responder must be defined with the emergency response plan with the supporting documents for the 134 local medical director the ultimate response for the designation of the advanced life support medical protocol the treatment of all patient responders during the hazmat material emergencies recommended the medical protocol specific address for the minimum of the following general support of the hazmat material care protocol irritant respiratory protocol non-cardiogenic pulmonary edema organophosphate carbamate insecticide poisoning nerve agent methamoglobinamine cyanide hydrogen sulfide poisoning acids including hydrofluoric acid alkalis heat stress and heat stress risk of management incident rehabilitation procedure may be found in the other policies 152 all aspects of the personal protective equipment plans must be present in the order to receive credit for this 211 the access stand for the care manager of the 7 hazard material technicians need the order to facilitate minimum entry of the hazard material response. The 7 people must be dispatched in initial hazard material emergency response. Once during the emergency, just give the evaluator need to do utilize the validation documents to ensure that the number is mapped with the question value with it from a purpose of the evaluation item. The initial response to hazard material emergency different with the first responder initiated with emergency. For example, the first response consisting of the engine company, hazard material company to report the order may not constitute the hazard material emergency response until the validated on-scene personnel of the hazard material emergency exists. On-scene characterized the hazard material emergency, the balance of the technicians need to achieve the 7 must be immediately available to dispatch. 224. The employer required by the establishment maintain record of each for the employee subject to the medical surveillance, actual practice of the physician office maintain some of the physical custody records of the agreement within the employer procedure need to be established with allow the access, storage, and transfer disposal of the records according to the Title 29 1910-20 with the keeping the personnel will need medical information confidential employee with the medical record custody of the physical physician should include medical employment the questionnaires history including the job description occupational exposure the result of the medical examination laboratory testing x-rays barometer audiograms etc medical opinion of the diagnosis recognition first aid record the description treatment the prescription employee medication complication physical written opinion to do the employer should not reveal the specific finding test result of the diagnostic or unrelated occupational exposure that identify should include whether the employee had the medical condition with the play of the employee to increase the risk for the occupational sport limitations assigned with the work use of the protective equipment statement that whether the employee has been informed of the result of the medical examination for Title 29 1926 58 assuming the employee has informed of the increase of the risk of lung cancer attributed with the combined effect of the smoking asbestos exposure. The OSHA rule does not state with the specific command with how the training must be documented but must be written documented clearly identified by personnel certified identified with the training with the past experience to meet the requirements over the possibility to include the information employees' personal file with the other method would include the information master list of the employees who qualify. Paragraphs Q6, 2 through 5 OSHA rule with the best method that you include the information separate certificate each of the employee methodologies curriculums with it to achieve the certification must be documented over the related to 312 313 hours associated with initial training must be documented. All right, walkthrough phase 1-1 plan and policies. 1-1-1 team member to aware of the appropriate plan with the policies regarding the establishment performance examination of the emergency response plan reference policies. Yes or no. Value 139. Title 29 CFR 1910 120 Q1 the team member the properly discovered the procedure to be taken with an event with the on-site emergency consistent with the emergency response plan reference policy. Yes or no. Number value 139. Source title 29 CFR 1910 120 Q1 114. If the employee know the location and have the access to the emergency response plan, all reference policy. Yes or no. One numerical value 138. The title 29 CFR 1910 120 Q1 12 incident command system. The team member that identified whether the designated that has material group safety and official consistent with the emergency response plan reference policies. And yes or no on numerical value 2.08 till 29 CFR 1910 120 Q2 and 122. Can the team members describe the role of the responsive area propositions within the ICC incident command system structure specifically has a material group on the yes or no numerical value 2.08 total 1.3 medical surveillance program 131 the team member provide the medical evaluation according to the employer medical surveillance plan yes or no 1.04 title 29 CFR 1910 120 Q9 132 the hazmat technician when should be received the last medical examination medical surveillance and consider the medical surveillance and physics recommendations yes or no 1.04 title 29 CFR 1910 120 Q9 F3 1B 133 have the employee provide with a written opinion of the result of the medical surveillance yes or no numerical value 104 title 29 CFR 1910 120 Q9 F7 134 can the employee describe the proper requirement of the on-scene medical treatment capability with the emergency response plan reference policy yes or no 1.04 title 29 CFR 1910 120 Q10 Q2 14 human resources 2-1 staffing after the team member how many techniques are available the initial response that has from emergency above the first response is number consistent with the emergency response reference plan yes or no numerical value 625 the source of the state emergency response commission guidelines 22 medical monitoring assessment 221 after the employee with the action would take would occur, but they have been exposed with the concentration above the permissible exposure limit. They consider the emergency response reference policy does it provide with the post-exposure medical evaluation? Yes or no? Numerical value 3.3. 3.13. That's over the title 29 CFR 1910 120 Q2 7 Q9 and G 3 through 5. 222. Ask the employee has been fitted tested for all respirator protective equipment with the care they expect they utilize whether the last fitted consider the employer's plan. Yes or no? Numerical value 3.12 Title 29 CFR 1910 120 Q8 through training initial training program duration 321 asterisk if the team member participate in the periodic exposure designed to measure the team the measure to be able to function according with the employer's emergency response plan yes or no numerical value 1.05 source 29 CFR 1910 120 Q2 7 have the employees designated with the hazmat material group leader for the role of the training with the incident commander level of the NMIS Incident Commander System 300 Strike Team Task Force Leader that has method Incident Management Program. Yes or no? 1.04 Standard Emergency State Emergency Response Commission Guidelines. 323 All employees with expect with the server that has material group lead aware of the requirements of Incident Command stipulated in Title 29 CFR 19 110 with the 120 Q3 with the implemented employer's emergency response plan. Yes or no? 1.04 OSHA 29 CFR 1910 120 Q3. 324 our team members aware of the important decontamination method of performing decontamination according to the emergency response plan reference documents yes or no 1.04 to Title 29 CFR 19 120 Q2 325 can the team member immediately obtain the garment capability information be able to promptly interpret the information provided yes or no numerical value 1.04 Title 29 CFR 1910 and 120 Q2 6 326 can the team member identify the person who have the responsible for the development of site specific safety plan yes or no 1.04 Title 29 CFR 1910 120 Q2 9 or Q2 11 G 5 B 3 3 refresher training 331 when the last time of the team of the members attended the refresher training being set for the baseline technique technicians' occupancy with the meet with the annual refresher documentation competency requirement specific emergency response reference plan with the yes or no numerical value of 3.13. Source title 29 CFR 1910-120Q8 332. Does the employee appropriate answer for the question? Demonstrate with the ability to the that has been through a group roles has been through a group leader decontamination entry and sign of the yes or no 3.12 the state emergency response commission guidelines. All right, decontamination equipment 4112 roll of plastic sheeting 100 by 20 feet 5 feet yes or no numerical value 0.15 1.1412 asterisk 2 retention base into the system capable of holding backboard patient and standing during decontamination yes or no 0.15 state emergency response commission level service model procedures 4132 additional retention ponds for any of the form yes or no 0.15 model procedures 4.141 runoff transfer pump yes or no 0.16 model procedures 4.415 asterisk 1 gross decontamination shower yes or no 0.15 model procedures 4.416 necessary hose manifold other supply properly operated with decontamination system and employer's decontamination plan yes or no 0.15 model procedures 4161 gallon suitable emulsifier yes or no 0.165 418 1 gallon sodium and hypochlorated bleach for yes or no 0.15 419 gallon disinfection for use of equipment yes or no 0.15 4110 1 gallon vinegar mild acid yes or no 0.15 1.1 411 11 and 5 pounds of sodium bicarbonate alkaline 1.15 4112 non-abrasive hand cleaner yes or no 0.15 4113 Tide similar cleaning detergent yes or no 15 4.141 gallon with 3% hydrogen peroxide supplemental disinfection yes or no 0.15 4115 1 to 85 gallon recovery jump yes or no 0.15 42 rehab extended operation 421 asterisk personal owners required with the response deployments for the organization provide personal hygiene and items with a supply of soap repellent sunblock and shampoos yes or no normal value 0.25 4.2 63 gallons of drinking water 3 gallons per person per day yes or no number 26 and 423 the required deployment of cleaning uniforms appropriate individual personal protective equipment for up to 30-72 hours 0.25 yes or no 424 63 meals ready to heat or other 3 persons per day yes or no numerical value 26 4.25 asterisk sanitation pap toilets minimum yes or no numerical value 0.25 or 14.26 field shower capability warm water yes or no 0.25 4.27 towels and toiletries yes or no 0.22 0.25 4.28 portable shelf capacity up to 72 hours 0.25 4.29 infield purchasing capability of the AG pay cards 0.25 4.3 detection analysis pH paper 0 to 14 yes or no numerical value 0.9 4.322 combustible gas detector CGD can be the combination unit yes or no 0.09 4.332 oxygen concentration monitoring can be a combination unit 0.0209 4.34 hydrogen sulfide detector can be a combination unit some yes or no 0.9 4.35 carbon monoxide detector can be a combination unit yes or no 0.09 4.36 88 radiological diazometers MR scale 0 yes or no 0.09 4.73 gamma beta survey meter can be combination level yes or no 0.9 4.38 survey meter capable of detecting alpha emission can be combination unit yes or no 0.9 439 calorimeter detection device dragger the sensitive or equivalent yes or no 0.9 4.310 calorimetric tubes and chip the chlorine ammonia hydrogen chloride or aromatic hydrogen carbons equivalent items yes or no 0.9 4.31 calorimetric tube the chip and this for the quality analysis of the unborn airborne contaminant dragger the hazmat kit that sensitive or equivalent yes or no 0.9 4.312 the asterisk field chemical analysis capable of liquid solid and sufficient to determine the basic hazard class yes or no 0.9 413 4313 supply with collecting liquid sample yes or no 10 state emergency SERC FSCA for the next 6 413 14 asterisk same supply with a collecting sample of 0.10 43 15 routine screen test kit with a yes or no 0.9 43 16 background swabs yes or no 0.9 43 17 buffer solution yes or no 0.9 43 18 sample label 0.9 43 19 certified cleaning sample contained with the liquid itself small and large mouth 0 yes or no 0.9 4.3 20 pump photo ionization detector yes or no 0.9 4.3 21 flame ionization detector yes or no 0.9 Alright, 4322 calibration gas equipment. If the device is required for the recommended manufacturer 0.9. 4323 airflow rate calibrated ball calibrator ball bearer of the annual service agreement. Yes or no 0.9. 4324 heating sensor the thermal imaging. Yes or no 0.9 FFCA. 4325 light amplification EG night vision. Yes or no 0.9 FFCA. 44 communication signal equipment at 44 radio capability communication with the organization dispatch center. Yes or no 0.125. 4425 high VHF the equipment floor division forestry chemical channels red, white, and blue. Yes or no 20.25. 443 cellular telephone. Yes or no 24. Numerical value 20.5. 444 wireless data capable with email. Yes or no. The numerical value 0.26. 445 the separate technical channel that has met team of the entry operation. Yes or no 0.26. 446 sufficient portable radio with the permit one per team member. Yes or no 0.25. 447 in-suit radio communications equipment for the radio equipment that entry the team member. Yes or no 0.25. 448 emergency evacuation signal device. Yes or no 0.25. 449 800 megahertz cable to statewide mutual aid channels. Yes or no state numerical value 0.25. State emergency response commission guidelines. Alright, 405 vehicle. Vehicle 451 vehicle capable of carrying initial response equipment. The personnel that can be multiple purpose use. Yes or no 3.379. 453 vehicles equipped with electrical supply generation equipment necessary to properly operate with the computer system and screen. Seeing light. Yes or no 3.78. 454 vehicle arrangement play for the transport reverse equipment. Yes or no 3.79. 4.5 on-scene refueling capability of the arrangement. Yes or no 3.78. 456 lighting equipment necessary with illuminate drift and operational air with the. Yes or no 3.78. Alright, 461 200 alphabetic hydrophoric and spill control path with 0.92 0.19. 462 100 feet alphabetic hydrophoric spill control boom with 9.19. 463 100 pound absorbent clay material equivalent 1.89. 4 2 each round with the end of the square and spark proof shovel 0.189. 465 2 street brooms 0.189. 466 200 feet utility rope 1.89. Was 0.189. 467 and the material necessary to cover the security storm drains. Yes or no 0.189. 468 additional 600 alpha hydrophobic spill with control panel reverse arrangement delivery within 1 hour. Yes or no 0.189. 146 additional 200 alpha hydrophobic spill control boom within reverse arrangement delivery within 1 hour. Yes or no 0.189. 4610 with the arrangement of delivery of the stream of the outside of the agencies. Yes or no 0.189. 46 the arrangement of the delivery operation heavy dirt move the equipment in front end of the loaders. Yes or no 0.189. 41612 with the arrangement of the marine units adding the boom with the deployment to determine jurisdictional need. Yes or no 0.189. 47 leak control equipment. 471 2 flaring torch with a liquid petroleum gas capable of both vapor liquid flaring. Yes or no 0.103 state required emergency commission. 417 sufficient gas supply of the ancillary equipment supporting flaring both liquid vapor phase. Yes or no 0.103. 147 liquid petroleum gas connection 3/4 inch for the ACE Acme vapor return connection petroleum oil lubrication for the connection 1.1 core Acme fill connection check valve actuator liquid withdrawal of the OFE service connector adapters all connectors with the supply fairing system 4.71 4.72 yes or no 1.103. 474 miscellaneous black iron pipe fitting short pipe yes or no 0.103. Fitting for the 1/2 inch to 2 inch of the liquid petroleum gas connection with liquid vapor flaring other leak control operation 4.75 asterisk natural gas line jacket the range from 3/8 to 6 inch for the natural gas existing jurisdiction. Yes or no 0.103. 476 natural gas line hose and clamp with the 2 inches 6 inches line with the natural gas existing jurisdiction. Yes or no 1.103. 477 liquid miscellaneous liquid petroleum gas fitting with the yes or no 0.103. 478 300 gallons per minute with a hydrocarbon resistant transfer pump pneumatic. Yes or no 0.103. 47 the arrangement of the chlorine rail kit with the rail hazard with the present with the jurisdiction. Yes or no 0.103. 417 assorted leak of the control package plugs and patching materials. Yes or no 0.103. 471 airbag leakage control system. Yes or no 0.103. 4712 with the 2 each of the ground rods ground and cable bottom cable. Yes or no 0.104. 4713 assorted cribbing with the yes or no 1.04. 1747 14.5 MC30C.406 dome clamps. Yes or no 0.103. 417 4715 chlorine A kit, yes or no, 0.103. 4716 chlorine B kit, yes or no, 103. 4717 assorted hardware, neoprene rubber patching plugging material, yes or no, 0.103. 4718 1 dot specification 85 gallon overpack drum, yes or no, 0.104. 4719 miscellaneous overpacking containers meeting the dot specification. Lab pack contains less than 55 gallons, yes or no, 0.104. 4720 drum slinging the drum handling equipment, yes or no, 0.103. 4721 hand truck, yes or no, 1.103. 4722 two additional 85 gallon overpacking drum reserved arrangements for delivery within 1 hour, yes or no, 0.103 total. All right, 4.85 control equipment and 4.81 30 gallons of 3% and 60% AFFF ATC foam concrete available with the internal initial response, yes or no, 0.379. 482 120 gallon permanent with a foam application equipment, yes or no, 3.78. 0.378. 483 30 pound metal X equivalent, yes or no, 0.378. And 4.84 200 gallons, 3%, 6%. AF ATCF foam concrete and reserve, 3.79. 4.85 application equipment complete with the 250 gallons or 3.78. Greater application reverse immediately available. 4.86 the arrangement of the code regulation equipment local hazard warrant 3.378. 4.9 medical supplies and equipment. 2 blood pressure for the cuff of the stethoscope. 0.227. 2 thermometer oral and pneumatic pneumatic. 0.27 to 27. The scale accurate with the plus or minus a quarter pound with the 2.27. The thermometer kit with the 2.27. The portable oxygen using the actual non-breather mask. 0.227. 4.96. The disposable bag valve value mask. 2.26 to 4.97. The oral airways. 2.27. 4.9 pharmaceutical with the supply with the support has the material medical protocol identified with the interview in section 1.3, yes or no, 0.227. 4.9 advanced life support ambulance with the transport capabilities, yes or no, 0.227. 4.9 paramedic with the toxicological training capabilities signed with the team available the interlocal and contractual agreement, yes or no, 0.227. The total. 4.9 reference and research chemical has response information system under Chris volume 2 system data sheets, yes or no, 1.74. 0.174. 410 with the asterisk NIOSH pocket gap with the chemical labs, yes or no, 0.174. 410 condensed chemical dictionary, yes or no, 0.174. 410 America index with the yes or no, 0.174. 410 with the National Fire Protection Guide with the hazard material, yes or no, 0.174. 410 with the handbook of the reactive chemical hazard, yes or no, 0.175. 410 with the chemical handbooks for yes or no, 0.175. 410 ACGIH threshold limited value the 170.175 of the mercury biological exposure index. 410 9 emergency response guide with the chemical biological warfare agent sidewell of the equivalent, yes or no, 0.175. 410 and PC laptop computer with the field internet connectivity, yes or no, 1.175. 410 the computer printer with the point, yes or no, 0.175. 410 with the cameo alpha marplot with the facility information facility with the response jurisdiction regional area response ability low, yes or no, 0.175. 410 surface area monitoring station integration with the ALOH, yes or no, 0.175. All right, 411 personal protective equipment and 4 scoot SCBA 60 minutes with their entire yes or yes or no, and then 6 SCBA 3 men with the decon cannot be with the 60 minutes, 2 additional 60 minute SBC entries. 411 4 aircraft with the extended airline operation for the personnel. 411 55 full piece air purifying respirator, power air purifying respirator, properly fitted and tested each time team member the minimum of P100 AG 0 P100 generally used with cartridges. 411 6 20 pair with a chemical resistant glove. They have been tested with the ACM chemical test battery with them provide at least 5 hours breakthrough time with each of the material with the test battery. 411 7 with the very few pair with the disposable boot cover. The 411 8 with the 10 pair with the chemical resistant boot with the steel strand if any with the boots that contain true with the chemical capability with the garment with the boots that the chemical resistant equal the greater with the garment will be used within. 411 9 6 vapor protect the garments meeting the standards of option National Provider Protection Agency 1991. 411 10 6 vapor to protect the garments meeting standard with the established the National Fire Protection Agency in 1991 and reserve the 20 liquid splash protect the garments of the NFPA 1992 and 1994 class 2 with the 20 particular protect the garments with the established standard with the established the National Fire Protection in 1994 class 4 with the biological radioactive materials. 20 .12 A to 60 PP SCBA meeting with the same with the Television National Fire Protection Agency in 1981 National Fire Protection Compliant Fire Protective Clothing Fire some of the meeting with the .12 intrinsically unsafe pass device for each of the SBA and CBA unit and .12 and 6 area protective use for use of the SBA 12 and note. The intent of the question is to ensure the technician actually with the opportunity to activity is to skill similar with the emergency situation of the kidney during the initial training with the technique with the also with the necessary part of the annual comps of the maintaining training with the available procedure. Emergency response commission model procedure level to serve the ability type 3 with the reach for the capable to provide that combination of the 3-parameter. Therefore, the capability should be available in initial response. Actual arraignment of the gross decontamination show what did you pay with the procedure of the agency show the agency elected to be the force posted the documentation show the otherwise utilize the handheld with the wands designed with the flush of the individual heads of either type of arrangement valid provide with the glass over the gross decontamination flushing dilution maintain 417 through 4111 the solution equivalent capability of acceptable 424 through 429 inheritable ability that has been to emergencies for the longer term operation dictate the need of the effective rehabilitative efforts for arrangement that need to be played within sheltering personnel during the rehabilitation process. The elements of the with which the accomplished can be varied. Ambulance bus with ventilated attempts to shelters all possible means they achieve the desired outcome necessary for the agency for the restore the in-house over the not available in-house written policy in place if they obtain within a reasonable period of time. Anytime pervade the resource support plan with the guidelines established for the States Emergency Response Commission and the mile procedure that has material emergency response level the service for the FFCA type of definition consider the evaluation of these elements need not to be maintained with the policies been played for the obtainment of the response during the campaign operation has a material response team should be encouraged however the look of the door of the maintain capability of disaster operation may interpret the infrastructure certainly preventing obtaining the food retail establishment of the field purchase of the meals would not be acceptable arrangement due to the potential infrastructure limitations. General speaking, 413, the general speaking has material either has gap similar with the field testing however the test capable of the screening the following with the characters that would be appropriate corrosivity radioactivity flammability combustible screening water reactivity water solubility volatile organic vapor production oxidizer screening every number that has materially operating with the team with the need to have the radio communication safety officer and with the safety officer coordinate to have the operators and the evaluation required by the technician for the operator team with the radio communication capability. The on-portable radio must be available to every team member with these level to draft the multiple MT teams, backup the teams as well as the team member with the coordinate with the function, decontamination sign with the safety group leader, etc. Chemical protective club with the grave with the severe limitation for the communication available with the ability that every person operating with the isolation must have the radio communication capability effective level protection they are using. 4612 no open water marina the environments exist with the jurisdiction the credit shall be given them. 475 476 if no natural gas system exists with the jurisdiction credit shall be given them. 484586 the jurisdiction aircraft crash fire rescue capable of the green need to be played with the option obtaining the resource to provide the operation for the airport and the facility with the such arrangement of the obtained mutual aid the arrangement of the extension of the allowable development of the foam application for the capability upon hazard communication. Alright, 410.1 and 4.111. Items listed with the reference for the minimum have the hard copy of the reference should be maintained. Hard copy of the reference essential support operate for the computer system failure for the standalone with the non-internet base for the computer database covering the listed references and need the ability only except for the redundant the computer capability immediately available to supervise the vehicle. Also, the database available to all response to open the database internet search for them will not be considered for the appropriate replacement with a hard copy reference potential field copy limitation infrastructure disruption of the reference lab with the occurrence of bonds of the equivalent must be capable of all the following dictionary name with the chemical terminology material name of the formula comprehensive synonym common reference comprehensive EHS number of the conference the formula data with the physical chemical property related to the shape volatile substitutability combustibility with the current exposure limit of reduction with the PEALs RELs ACGI HTLVH NIOSH the IDLH values chemical compatibility recovery reactivity data with the directive of the pesticide name the hazard National Fire Protection Agencies Association 704 rating data chemical biological weapon and hazard resistance assessment information medical treatment protocol although the level 4 level A with the issue will be required with level A the entry 2 and into backup number the super that consistent in the real world and with the instant of the other than simplest level the emergency of the 6-2 should be considered the minimum list would allow the 2-person entry teams or 2-3-person entry team with a higher level of the operational safety is required. 411 11 411 14 extra points awarded with the Level A and Level B governments of the National Fire Protection Agency in 1991 and 1992, complying with the respectively. And then serve the assessment summary and the assessment assignment data and assessment conducted, and then show the summary of your plan, policy, human resources, training, and equipment, and your frequently asked questions. During the pilot with the testing and assessment tool, with the server with the comment, receive with the review, show with the more frequent comment, engage, the discover the following pay. This is about the time of the sliding with the scale, depending with the question, partial, compliant with the initial documentation, total, with the guidance provided by the intent, the definite, provided by the agency, the agreement, with the plan, with the identified with the potential environment, settings, lighting, scale, with the indicator, the proof of the partial, compliant with the developer, with the State Emergency Response Commission, with the authority to indicate the compliant with the intent, with the assessment tool, the level, the assistant and agency to ensure the compliant with the federal regulations, stating guidelines, the numerical, the weighting, the individual elements, and reduce the decimal, with given the identification, they should pay with the encompass the high numerical overall score. The intent is not to furnish with the score and indicate that the pass or fail, the only to furnish with the picture of the compliant with the order to the name of the person, with the must name of the tool, with the wave, with the given the number, the point, with the compliant with the mandatory regulatory item, normal equipment, the tools are awarded with additional points for the items deemed necessary for the autonomous option for the team, with the ensure that you can operate with the maximum efficiency and safety. Can we develop alternatives of so for the delivery with the, for example, the flame ionization, detect for the carrier of the fire protection, prevention with the kind of accountability with the available hazard material response team. What kind of the question is itself will be subject to the question of the response team, and the meet with the assess, the indicate the monitoring level, but they be able to routinely with the entry of the person, with the have the training, with the equipment, you with the main with the team, with the compass with the device, you with it is maintained in accordance with the manufacturer recommendation, and able to respond with a timely fashion. Except for the good aware with the yes for the response, more appropriate alternative, the team that is properly named, manned, and equipped, and they would have the individual assigned with the instrument with the team, when the team maintains the instrument, make the able to fire investigator as needed to dictate the question natural and with themselves as objective intent, but the tool with the objective pool possible debate for the response from the administrative, the personnel response personnel. Federal Regulation, Occupational Safety, Health Administration. Many agencies the professional protective equipment plan that address 9 and of 11 items cited with the tool, but doesn't mean that I do not get credit for the personal plan and protected item that I'm implemented. The Federal Regulation, the Occupational Safety Administrator for the Title 29, 1910, 120 Q10 with the chemical protective clothing equipment. The organization that has math team leader for the order to be with the has material substance shall meet the requirements. Paragraph G3 to G5 of the section in order with the Title 29, 1910, 120 G5 of the dictated element of the personal protective equipment with an inappropriate with the stuff of the overlook with the missing element of the 4 an effort to the award of the statistical the WOPO of the assessing with the compliance. While there are certain pieces of equipment weighed so highly with the money, with the infrequently logic bound with the weighting of the individual item with the relay with the important team with the being self-sufficient after being dispatched for the answer of the individual team should be fully capable of performing, capable of complete hazard with the risk assessment, with the rendering the aim of the safety design with the ability with the team with the intervene with the possible aim with the have with the every team should be capable of performing the intervention technique, including the flame with the venting with the flame with the gas controlling routine chlorine releases, monitoring downwind with the have associated with then probable fluid eventually with the routine response with liquid petroleum gas neutral gas need to take shape with the need with the responsible equipment associated with the routine releases. While some of the mentioned that may not have natural gas within their jurisdiction, eventually with the mutually with the other agreement shall mandate the equipment with the type of the sense that readily accept the other type of the pipe of materials. If it would be logical to with no natural gas exhibit the beginning of the prepare with the indicator of the many applications the equipment associated with the liquid and petroleum and natural gas industry on the mention of the hydrous ammonia is more it's important to keep in mind the evaluation instrument was not only designated to indicate the team of the preparedness for the response for the home community, but also deliver service in the region based upon the mutual aid response regional response agreements. Why do we move my team leaders need to be trained with the incident commander level? We're going to scope of the response with the increment with the State Emergency Response Commission post task experience with the hazard material response team with the response officer of the jurisdiction where it becomes necessary to ensure that the layers of the company officer may be trained with the incident commander level associated with the hazardous answer with the training will provide the knowledge and the insight with the necessary function. Otherwise, dysfunctional command the structure is our intent to ensure that the hazard material that responds to operate with a defined command structure for the unsure of the personal safety anywhere that they may operate. Why do you need to have the written air monitoring plan with the hazard material? The regulation does not specifically dictate with the hazard material that responds to the pre-designated with the monitoring plan with the developer experience with the breeze monitoring to perform more efficient amount of the airborne contaminant, but pose with a greater risk for the unprotected. The response with the civilians is necessary the establishment methodology pre-established for the action level with the limits for the individual agencies liability with the guidance established for the air monitoring program available to the Environmental Protection Agency additional designs of the available the NIOSH ACGIH. We do have a specific site plan. The site with the specific site safety plan with the essential with the same with the health of the safety plan with described in Title 29 CFR 1910. 120 Q2 and G5 of the B1 with state emergency response community does not have the opportunity to plan with the eventuality of the specifically safety plan way to ensure the proper implementation of emergency response plan. SOGs are standard of the guidelines or stating operation practice of emergency stating to the emergency discussion of the typically national of the implementation site specific safety plan remains constantly national of the specific safety may provide the ensure the proper technique of the safety conservation drive the proper prior assessment of the operation and participant incident of the action plan with the incident command system, site-specific safety plan, briefing documentation has material safety officer for the during operation. Furthermore, the title definition on site-specific safety plan will have the adopted with the national IMS assortment. What constitutes the initial training the development team to discover the issue with the extensively decide the fully follow the accepted norms available to all respond to the weight of the obviously with the total complying with the all standard include with the recommended amount of the training grade with the OSHA medium stand with the remember the OSHA regulations employer certified on the technique that is therefore all agencies show the the standard for the consumer certified the head material technician that must document the certification process the unfortunately there's no way evaluation tool measurement individual competency for the tools and to measure the compliance with the regulation and with the acceptance of the standard of care with all the response even the person with the main of the year there is no substitute with the continuing education with the during the assessment agency for the measure for the written definition acceptable level of the education certifying hazard material technician for the documentation of that process for the minimum for the occur with the OSHA standard with the standard emergency response commission training guideline with the consensus that developed the other organization based on OSHA and the National Fire Protection and Hazard Material and Emergency Planning State Emergency Response Commission guideline with the developer experiment with impossible to bring to a person. The technical level of the constituting minimal hour identified by the OSHA, however, the credit they provide with the meet with the minimum acceptable regulatory hour, the training additional way with the provide with the organization exceed the minimum hour, the entry for the higher knowledge and scalability. What constitutes the technique for the group with the question they adequately draft the note 21 number 211 interview with the plan favor the assessment needed to be set for the adequate number of the trained personnel with the available adequate implementation level of operation. Why should the score? Why should my organization purchase for the equipment that it might never be used in order to obtain a higher score? The intent of the documentation curve, the dictate of the encounter, the impact of the result of the assessment just a tool measure whether you're complying with the current standard of the care of the jurisdiction may or may not have the additional resource of the base of your agency particular situation be able to save without mutual aid. Equivalent of the organization have the piece of equipment with them perform the same function of the piece of equipment and the tool. If the intent of the consideration given the equipment tool equivalent tools and devices performing essential for the same function, however, it is important to ensure that all the elements are met with the include the knowledge of the acid gas that may be random malfunction instrument incapable of monitoring a specific gas and vapor. The voice of the risk-based response have the hazard base of the response of the relative of the new concept of emergency response committee. It also go to the president of the standard operators and procedure that all knowledgeable individuals will make a decision based on fact determined by the hazard risk assessment instead of the standard operation procedure provided by the framework with which the operating situation may dictate adjustment of standard operation and standard procedure proactive based on actual hazard risk revised 623 2008 Florida State Emergency Response Commission TTF tool. So this was reading of your Florida State Emergency Response Commission Capabilities Assessment Tool Type 3 Hazard Material Emergency Response Teams, 2008 edition.